आ गया ना, आ रहा है।
अभी
ऑडियो अभी
ऑडियो अभी अभी देखिए, चेक नाउ। ओके नाउ
कुछ नहीं करने का, अभी
उसको रीनेम करने का, डेमो लिखा है, स्ट्रीम नेम, उसको ही चेंज कर। Something you can, we can, if we talk,
I need to start exactly after
hey,
the.
audio wrong ले आ रहे हैं, it's taking the mic. No, that's wrong. It should not.
NET NetApp.
We change that. Sir, ನಿಮ್ದು ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಅದು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದು ಸಬ್ಜು. ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಯಾರು ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಔಟ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೆಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಅದಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲಾರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಚೆಕ್ ನಾವು. Once you hear, let me know. Check the audio now. What can you hear now? You can hear me? Now, audio, what to do? Audio has to come from HDMI.
Dance. sing with me. Let's have a little bit of fun. I want everyone to get ready to sing with me. It's coming slowly. Sing. Everybody, sing with me now. I'm a real prankster. My name is Prithvi. I'm Bangalore born on Fever 104 FM. May I ask you all to please stand up? Please stand up. I'm serious. Stand up. Yeah, thank you. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Everybody stand up. I'm right behind you. Stand up, stand up. Hello. How many times do I sing this line for you all? Please stand up. And together, clap, clap. Everybody, together. Louder. Hands together, clap, clap. Keep clapping. Don't stop. Let's come together and sing a song. A happy song. NetApp song. Say NetApp. Together, little louder, say NetApp. Accelerator. Accelerator. Demo day. Demo day. This is when I ask you all to please sit down. Please sit down. Please sit down, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to all of you. Welcome to the Cohort 4 of NetApp Accelerator Demo Day. A hearty warm welcome to everybody this evening. Good evening. I want to quickly introduce myself. I also have a confession to make. First, I don't know if you remember my face from any of my movies. How many of you seen Slumdog Millionaire? Lagan? Sultan? I have acted in none of these movies. How many of you listen to the radio, FM? I am glad. I'm a furniture in the radio industry. I've been hosting shows for over 14 years. I used to be hosting a morning show on Radio 1. Now I moved to Fever 104 FM. And the same guy who speaks every morning, my name is RJ Prithvi. Once again, a hearty warm welcome to the Demo Day. A warm welcome. How many of you are from Bangalore? You do listen to the radio? Or are you just being nice and polite? I am so glad. Thank you very, very much. How many of you speak, hi, Kannada? ಈ ಸುಂದರ ಸಂಜೆಗೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿರುವ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. ತಮಿಳ್ ಎಲ್ಲവർക്കും వணக்கம். తెలుగు మీ అందరికీ సుస్వాగతం. మలయాళం good evening to start up. It's a tough language, I'm so sorry. Okay, you must be wondering what am I doing at an event like this, because I don't understand technology the way you do. I really don't. I'll tell you why I'm here this evening. I'm here for a very dear friend of mine. I'll get to that in just a bit. So I asked the NetApp folks, just send me a brief about what this event is all about. And the first line I read was as follows. World is changing. That part I understood. That's the only part I understood. World is changing. We are living in a digitally native, cloud-connected world powered by deep technology. I am sure you understand that language. I had to by heart the next two terms. Let's see if I get it right. So today, as I said, you have 6 startups. You get to see and hear about cognitive robotics. That excites you, I'm sure. I have no understanding about that. I'm a radio jockey. I understand entertainment. So cognitive robotics and computing, quantum computing. That is what you will hear this evening. 6 startups that will present to you game-changing technologies, ideas, and aspirations. So ladies and gentlemen, a hearty warm welcome yet again to Cohort 4 of NetApp Accelerator Demo Day. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Thank you very, very much. To kickstart things, I would like to call upon the person. He's one of the reasons I'm here as well. He's my classmate. We studied in the same school. We completed high school together. This project is very dear to him. It is his brainchild. He's the proponent of NetApp Accelerator. It's very dear to him. He's very passionate about this. Um, he's one of the reasons I'm here this evening as well, for him. We're very proud of what we do otherwise outside in the respective industry. And his official introduction, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome him. He works as a Senior Director for Engineering at NetApp and also heads NetApp's startup accelerator called NetApp Excellerator. He's an alum of UC Berkeley's Haas School of Business. This I didn't know about him. And he has about 20 years of experience in the high-tech product industry. If you may, please put your hands together to welcome Ajaya Motaganahalli. Ajaya!
Lift off.
Am I audible at the back? All right. So thank you, Prithvi. Thank you very much. That was phenomenal. I don't think we could have done this without you. So thank you very much. Let's get started. 2 years ago, we conceived of this program and launched it. Right? I mean, it's a great testament to the innovation that exists in this ecosystem. We have worked with about 24 startups very closely. We have mentored them. We have kind of taken them to market. We've kind of graduated them in our cohorts. But we've actually seen about 1,000 startups to get to these 24 gems, right? So this has been a phenomenal journey. And I'm going to talk about this journey a little bit when the slides are ready to roll. Okay. So 2 years ago, when we did this, the intention was to foster innovation in this ecosystem. There was a lot of buzz in the B2C ecosystem. We wanted to look at B2B, deep tech, something that NetApp understands pretty well. And we wanted to see what can we give back to this ecosystem, and we started with that. Once we rolled with that, we met some really phenomenal companies, right? And we partnered with 8 of those 24 companies that we worked with. And there were some learnings that we also had along the way. And if I can reflect back as a testament to the 2 years of operating this program, here's what we get. The companies we work with have a strong internal locus of control. What is internal locus of control? It means that you have the destiny in your own hands, so you can control your destiny. In some words, our CEO says that, hey, control what you can, and the rest of it will fall into place. So the companies are phenomenal at that, and that's why they are where they are, right? So that was one thing. The second thing that when we looked at it is identifying trends and opportunities, right? So we are generating a lot of data at the edge, at the core, and at the cloud. And data is constantly flowing between these endpoints. So this generates a lot of opportunity in terms of trying to protect that data, monitor that, ensuring that there is privacy, ensuring that you are able to compute AI in a secure way. All of these opportunities are lying out there, right? We're looking at clouds, hyperclouds, multi-hyperclouds, right? So there is a lot of opportunities, and you have Kubernetes clusters running everywhere. You may want to have a single window to actually manage all of those. Opportunities are many, and our startups have excelled at actually taking advantage of that opportunity, running with it, and creating a lot of value. Moving on, right? In about, let's say, May of this year, we went ahead and this clicker is not working. Can somebody move the slides for me, please? Can someone move the slide? Sorry about the technical problems. Okay, so I'll go slow. I don't need the slides. That's okay. So essentially, right, so we did a study along with Zinov, in partnership with Zinov, and we wanted to kind of look at the ecosystem and say, hey, here's where B2B stands and here's where B2C is, right? So India was very well known for B2C. Sort of about 7,500 startups, we found about 3,200 of them are deep tech B2B startups. It's a staggering number. And then we actually looked a little bit keenly and we saw that in the last 5 years, this number had actually tripled. That's why it stands at 3,200. And where NetApp is interested in, right? So we are looking at advanced tech, like we call it as AI/ML, call it as IoT, deep classifications, data analytics, IoT, right? All of these form about 3/4 of that. Right? So this is a phenomenal number. So if any startup out there is looking to, hey, here's what I have an idea and where do I need to work, these are the places where you need to work. Remember the time when, thank you. Remember the time when we had all of these cryptocurrency companies that were actually around and everybody in the world was doing blockchain? Well, it is not as much in India, but they were all thronging to that because that's where the action was. Here's where the action is. Data analytics, AI, IoT, blockchain. That forms the bulk of advanced technology companies that exist. Shifting gears, right? I want to call applications for Cohort 5 today. And there is a strategic shift we are doing in our program, right? So all of these cohorts that we did, we had a certain format. We are changing that going forward. So Cohort 5 onwards, NetApp will become a customer to the startups that participate in this program. So we will offer companies POCs that will be paid for. So these will be real-world, real-time problems that will be solved. And there will also be problems that we will together solve with NetApp for an end customer where our sales will actually partner with you. So this is going to be an engagement that's going to generate immense value to the ecosystem. So why do we think of it now? 4 cohorts gave us that confidence, right? I mean, when we started, it wasn't that way. I mean, we were trying to figure out how is this ecosystem, what are we going to get out of it? And 4 years, we look back, looking at 8 partners. Out of 24 companies that we actually graduated, we have 8 go-to-market partners. How is that for value, right? 2 of those companies which, thank you. 2 of those companies which did not become our partners got acquired. 2 companies are, one is Ardea, which was part of our Cohort 1, got acquired by Qualys, a publicly listed company in the United States. The other company that got acquired, I'm not at the liberty to say which company acquired them, but this company is called ArcSaver, which was a company that was put together by 3 IIT Delhi graduates. I met them at IIT Delhi a couple of years ago, and I invited to be part of this program. This has been acquired as well by a Valley-based company. So this is phenomenal because they solve real-world issues. So solve real-world issues. Don't build a solution that's magnificent and go searching for a problem that it can solve. Solve a real problem. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and that comes in the form of acquisitions, that come in the form of fundings. You can even do an IPO. I'm sure one of our companies is doing that as well. So with that, I would like to now welcome on stage my colleague, without whom I could not have taken the program to where it is today, a crucial cog to this whole program. Madhurima Agarwal, please come on stage.
What a journey it's been. In 2017, when the program launched, and 4 cohorts later, we've been, okay, the clicker's not working, so you just, can we have the next slide, please? So through the 4 cohorts, the program has been helping startups build world-class products and solutions. The program helps the startups get access not just to know-how, but also a lot of mentoring, a lot of tools and technologies, and we help them become market ready. The program allows the participants access to NetApp's extensive network of ecosystem partners, subject matter experts, and our customers to help them realize the maximum potential of their ideas. We've seen over 1,200 startups, of which 24 startups got the chance to participate in the program, of which 8 startups got the special status of being NetApp Global Alliance Partners, which helped us create over 100 go-to-market opportunities for them. The startups have gone on to raise multiple rounds of funding. You might have heard about some of them like SigTuple. They've gone on to raise their Series C. And as Ajay mentioned, 2 of our startups have had a profitable exit. The current cohort, which is going to be presenting to you shortly on stage, has some exceptional offerings. From quantum-resistant cryptographic systems to AI-driven data extraction systems and smart predictive maintenance systems for Industry 4.0, they are all here to wow you. It takes a village to raise a child, and it takes an ecosystem to build successful startups. Ladies and gentlemen, the celebration today is not just for these 6 startups. It's for all the people who've gone through this grueling journey. For all of you who are creating opportunities for them, the mentors who have invested their time, the customers who are engaging. It's been an exhilarating experience for me working for these cohorts. The past months have been extremely enriching, full of action, lots of learning, working with some of the most innovative minds in business. Let's have a quick look at what it's been like.
At the NetApp Accelerator, we are proud to have enabled some path-breaking innovative technologies. This is a time when innovations and tech advancements have started to generate new market opportunities. With mainstreaming of artificial intelligence, security risks associated with large data set computations is real and that exists. Future-proofing against security threats posed by quantum computing is real. In the last 2 years and over the last 4 cohorts, we at the Startup Accelerator in NetApp have crafted a diverse technology and business platform for deep tech B2B companies to make use of, collaborate and create enormous value.
AI ML is the main driving force behind digital transformation. It's not only transforming the business processes, it also is transforming the workforce.
We have understood what are some of the B2B trends that are happening within the startup ecosystem as such, as well as for us to be able to contribute our 25 years of experience. We bring in especially the technical and the business mentorship, potentially where companies can understand where they are going with respect to the trends and being able to potentially redefine or change direction for that matter.
6 months ago, we were a startup with a very cool technology and we didn't know where to put it. The acceleration in terms of our product development has been massive. So being here, sitting with NetApp, gave us a very good perspective into what the market is headed towards.
We now have understood every nuance before we go to the client, when we meet the client, and how quickly we can understand the problems and present them a solution, so that we really cut short the entire time in which any large organization would be spending.
We found an opportunity to actually integrate with one of the NetApp products. That gives us global access with the assistance of NetApp sales and marketing team. So the go-to-market strategy, especially as a B2B company, and NetApp being in the B2B space, has really helped us.
I think the biggest benefit for us is mainly around how we can validate the product quickly and how we can distribute and market it to customers.
We have identified 2 or 3 very pertinent and very critical use cases, and now we are on next stage where we have to work with them to put those use cases in place.
Equilibrium as a company is really focusing this year on our international expansion. NetApp has kind of enabled us to get the right contacts as well as build the right skill sets and infrastructure.
We've given them media training. How can they go about creating a media strategy, exposure to the media?
We at NetApp Excellerator have consistently had the privilege of having the best players in the tech field who bring to the table the right amount of passion, the right skill sets, and most importantly, the right attitude. We at NetApp have given them a nudge in the right direction to help them score high and win it big.
A round of applause, yes, for the amazing journey of these startups. We're going to very soon start the pitching of 6 startups this evening, but before that, I would like to welcome 2 gentlemen on stage for a fireside chat. I would like to call upon on stage Deepak Vishweshwarya. He's the Managing Director for NetApp India and the Senior Vice President. He's the Site Leader for NetApp's Global Center of Excellence, located at Bangalore. A technology veteran with 30 years of experience, with 18 years in the United States in the high-tech industry. Deepak holds a MS in engineering from University of Texas and an MBA from University of Phoenix. So, with a round of applause, please welcome Deepak Vishweshwaraya on stage for a chat. Deepak. I would also like to call upon on stage Mr. K. Vaithishwaran. Vaithi, as he is popularly known in the industry, is a serial entrepreneur and TEDx speaker. Vaithishwaran is also the author of the best-selling book called Failing to Succeed, the story of India's first e-commerce company, and he's widely hailed as the father of e-commerce in India. Vaithi pioneered the e-commerce industry in India when he co-founded India's first pure-play online retail company, Fabmart.com, which was later rebranded as IndiaPlaza.com in 1999. And then he co-founded Fab Mall, which grew to become India's largest supermarket chain in 2006, was acquired by the chain of stores, which was acquired by Amazon in 2018. He's also the co-founder of the just launched exciting range of beverages called Again Drinks. So with a round of applause, please welcome Vaithi on stage, Vaithishwaran, for a fireside chat. So Deepak and Vaithi, over to the two of you.
Thank you, Prithvi. Thank you. That was a great introduction. Thank you, Prithvi. Also, very well welcome on behalf of NetApp to everyone here today, as well as, Vaithi, this is a privilege to have you here in our event, and thank you for being here.
I think pleasure is all mine. Very, very happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I thought, today, especially as we are celebrating the success of 6 startups going through this cohort and then going through the rigor in terms of the last 4 to 6 months and coming to this stage, it would be very, very apparent in terms of the alignment of what you have gone through. Prithvi did the introduction, which talked about the fact that you're probably known as the father of e-commerce for India, right? That's a big responsibility to carry on your shoulder.
I've grown quite old, I think that's one of the reasons.
And perhaps having gone through a multiple of those journeys, right? In terms of being able to start something, getting it to a meaningful stage, and being able to go on to something new, and I'm sure you've gone through that journey as an entrepreneur. What was it like in terms of being able to start in 1999 and what it is today? And perhaps you can share for all of the entrepreneurs in the room your journey and what you've learned out of that.
Yeah, sure. So, when we launched our beverages recently in 2019, which is 20 years since we did our first startup in 99. The only common thing, since you said what's changed, I'll tell you what didn't change.
Sure.
Is in 99 we actually announced Fabmart.com in the Gateway Hotel. They're amongst the few hotels in Bangalore in those days. So we launched it in one of the rooms there. And one of the things I wanted to make sure I said is we will announce the launch of this drink only when that room is available, because I knew in Bangalore and in the startup ecosystem, everything had changed except the hotel room. Right? Every other thing was totally different. Key things that are different is, one big thing that has changed is today I think entrepreneurs are able to get a lot more done with lot little, and I think technology is placed in a remarkable role. I think when there were 6 of us who did Fabmart in those days, and although we did do a lot of things, I think 6 of us had to work hard. We're just 2 now, and we just have 4 people. But I think the momentum that we're four people are able to get today significantly higher than 20 years back. That's a significant change,
Right.
largely driven by technology and the fact that doing startups now is past. Everybody does it. So, it's a lot more easy. We're not spending time trying to say, I'm doing something new. To me, that's the biggest change that's happened.
Awesome. That's wonderful to hear from your journey from that point of view, right? So as you've gone through, not only just about being able to, build startups and be able to get them to meaningful stage of what have you, but you've also invested time in being able to share some of your thoughts, whether it is by authoring a book or teaching a class or what have you in multiple ways. And one of the interesting thing I saw was really about your the book that you authored, right? Failing to Succeed. Right?
Yeah.
And one thing stood out for me in the sense that you seem to have gone contradictory to what most people have talked about in terms of fail fast. And your perspective there seems to say, don't pivot and don't fail fast, right? So how does this come about? What, how do you explain it? How do you, how would you like people to take that away from this discussion?
Yeah, so, that's a very interesting question because I get asked this question quite frequently because it is against the normal grain of thinking. Most startups are told that fail fast, pivot fast. My view is I think a startup is not a 9-to-5 job. I think entrepreneurs and those who do startups realize that it requires blood, sweat, and tears. It requires mind, body, heart, and soul. It requires enormous amount of thinking before you say, I'm equipped to get onto this journey. And nobody knows how it's going to end. You can't say all of that and say, look, I'm going to do all of that, but you know what, 6 months later, I'll fail fast and pivot fast. To me, this is meaningless. I think once you decide to do a startup, I think you must be able to passionately pursue what you started till you can no longer walk. It may take 1 year, it may take 2 years, it may take 5 years. And I think fail fast, pivot fast essentially tells an entrepreneur that there is a plan B. And we're all told that in business you need to have a plan B, plan C, but for a startup, I'm not sure it's a great idea that you start up by saying, I'm going to start up, but you know what, I'm going to fail fast and move on to something else. I think you must move on to something else only when you can no longer move ahead on what to do. If it means you have to take 6 more months or 12 more months before you decide to start up, I think it's still fine. Or you can't start a journey and say, I've got a plan B, I'm going to fail fast. I think it distracts. That's my view. I know it's not the popular view, but I'm quite convinced about it.
So you're saying, you keep going until you cannot, until you realize you cannot
yeah,
move
but you can no longer take a step ahead. At least you walk out of it saying, I did my best. And given the fact that 9.9 out of startups will fail, unfortunately, that's a reality, you must at least be able to walk out saying, I put everything out there. You can't go and say, you know what, everybody fails, failure is common, let me give it a shot, otherwise, you know what, okay, I tried cricket, let me play some other sport. You can't. You have to practice and make a success out of it. And if it didn't, well, it didn't. At least you gave your best.
True, though, in terms, but how the practical numbers do share that 9 out of 10, probably do fail.
Yes.
Right? So your point is that have you made the full effort to be able to say you failed?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
realize
Yeah.
that. Wonderful. Wonderful.
So I also, I wanted to ask you a lot of things. So the most important thing about a program like this, I'm personally associated with quite a few corporates who have their own in-house incubator, accelerator programs. In that sense, it isn't different. What I'm curious about is, what drove you to do this? Why is NetApp getting into this? And I'm sure there is a generic answer, but I must assume I'm looking for that very specific motivation that is driving NetApp to say, we're going to invest time and effort into this.
Oh, absolutely. I think, couple of years ago, more so than necessarily NetApp, I would probably say the idea was conceived here in NetApp Bangalore, NetApp India, right? We realized one of the things that we saw was that India has been great in terms of being able to, put things together from a services perspective. We have done that, for a long time. We are excellent in terms of building services organizations, being able to offer those services worldwide, globally, everything is done. Very similarly, you've been actually part of the movement which went towards in terms of being able to solve some of the B2C problems innovatively and really had success in terms of whether it is e-commerce or, in the retail or telecom or what have you. So to a large extent, there were companies that actually, flourished well in being able to address those spaces. One of the things that we noticed, and the fact that we are also in a B2B industry. A couple of years ago, there weren't really a lot of innovation. There weren't really a lot of product companies that were coming and building products for the global markets out of India. And we thought in terms of being able to build an ecosystem, if we can actually help build an ecosystem of a really good, strong startup environment, it would actually help build some of the solutions, some of the global solutions that our customers actually face today. And we have always been of the view that we cannot solve world hunger. I mean, we certainly need help. We certainly need partners. We certainly need other companies to work along with us to be able to solve some of those areas or some of the problems that some of our customers actually do face, right? So our thought process was really to be able to build that kind of an ecosystem that can help. And then I think from, for a country like India, where, yes, most people focus on the fact that there are a billion people, and then if you can go sell something to a part of them, you're very successful. At the same time, from a global perspective, in being able to stand head to head with the superpowers, for that matter, being able to call ourselves a fully developed country and what have you, we certainly believe that B2B is an ecosystem that must be established. That was the motivation behind it.
Absolutely. B2B, I think, is been quite neglected. Unfortunately, in India, most people think the startup has to be B2C, which is quite an unfair definition, actually.
Yeah, it's incredibly exciting now, actually, to see so many companies. And as we've been through this 2-year journey, we have realized the opportunity that people are seeing. We realize the opportunity that people are exploring and innovating to solve those B2B problems, especially with the deep technologies that problems that can also be solved in terms of areas that we can reach into that could have never been done before, right? In terms of remote areas, whether it is healthcare, education, you name it. In countries like India, where we didn't have that access before, we can solve some of those problems now. So that's kind of been a huge motivation and factor, right? Awesome. You talked a little bit about your perspective of failure, and whether to fail fast or not. One of the things I also notice about most of the time, what comes up in the news is all about the success of unicorns. It's all about the success of some of the startups, and we're most of the time talking about success. And that's a good thing in terms of being able to inspire people, being able to really encourage people to do that kind of innovation is great. Having said that, I mentioned earlier, probably everyone knows 9 out of 10 startups don't go anywhere, right? So how, you've gone through a long journey in terms of being an entrepreneur and doing multiple of these enterprises. What would you tell, how does one deal with failure? How does one fall down and get up and running again? And how do they motivate themselves? What would have you done, and what you can probably share with the entrepreneurs here?
First is I have a problem with the definition of success itself. So, what happens is, for most startups, I think the definition of success is actually the financial outcome. And the reality is, I think it's a very unfair yardstick to measure the success of a startup or a venture. Some of them will go and meet the financial outcomes, maybe beyond that you said, but most won't. And thereby, I think it's a wrong yardstick. The reality is, like you said, I mean, the failure rates are incredibly high. And these are young people putting their best years of their life. And suddenly, after a few years, you realize that all that's passed you by is the years, right? And years have gone, nothing has happened. The way to deal with it is, and it's not very easy, is to realize that every success puts some money in the bank, but every failure gives you a lot more learning. Like somebody, a very famous author, good friend told me, is success teaches a few things, but failure actually is the entire course curriculum. And the reality is, if you want to come out of the school of entrepreneurship, it's important to deal with failures and learn from it a lot more, because success doesn't teach much and you learn a lot more. And I think one of the things entrepreneurs need to keep in mind is, I say this very regularly, I've used this extensively in my book, is 99% of startups will fail, but 100% of entrepreneurs will succeed. Because for an entrepreneur, the act of throwing away the security of a job and deciding to start up and do something in itself is a success. What the financial outcome is a few years later, well, it doesn't matter, right? I think you started, you succeeded. The company didn't succeed, well, I think it's just a statistic. So to me, startups will fail, all 100% entrepreneurs will succeed. And I think that's what they need to keep in mind. And if you do that, then you realize if the startup didn't get the financial outcome, the company failed, but I succeeded. And that allows you to get up and say, let me continue walking.
That's a very good perspective. That's an awesome perspective to have.
Before coming, I did some due diligence. Due diligence is a very common word in the startup ecosystem. So I also did some due diligence and realized that NetApp consistently has been rated as a great place to work. Incidentally, hiring good people, building talent is an area where most startups struggle, right? Because it's not easy. I mean, these are all brilliant people building great products. But at the end of the day, you need to still hire people, maintain them, build human capital. What's your secret sauce here? How do you do this?
Oh, well, I think, first of all, we're probably fortunate too, right? Even though you do everything, even if you do everything right, potentially there are things that can go wrong. But, over time for us, one of the things that has come about is really the NetApp culture in terms of how we go about, building our teams and how we go about, trying to achieve the goals that we set for ourselves and what have you. I would probably say there are three areas that we focus on in terms of how we build and motivate our entire workforce for that matter, right? Number one is, we focus on leadership in terms of leaders who are accountable, who are responsible, who, irrespective of where they are located, right? We have several global roles that are based out of Bangalore. People, who have direct reports to them out of the state side, for that matter. Some time ago, that was very rare to see, and we were probably one of the first companies to be able to kind of build that kind of a model. We don't differentiate people from, one center to another center, irrespective of what geography they might actually be working out of. Second, we intentionally built this center, to focus on innovation. We always wanted to make sure that India is not talked about separately from any other center. We didn't want to be treated any differently than any other center. So we focused on building our teams with a significant amount of senior technical talent. Just the fact that we were focused on innovation. We wanted people who could do design and architecture of subsystems or entire products or what have you, own that architecture, be able to stand on their own in being able to defend, that kind of technology. And that has given us the ability to be able to be second to none and showcase, the innovations that we deliver out of this Global Center of Excellence. And thirdly, I think our employee engagement. We've really focused in terms of being able to understand what makes or what motivates our workforce, right? There are different, in terms of, starting from communication to be able to, design a facility that provides that kind of motivation is really what we have gone after. We built a campus on our own, where we are the only company that exists in that campus, which is really designed to help, build an innovative workforce. And that kind of, I think those three areas, the employee engagement, senior talent, the leadership, has given us that capability in my view.
In addition to all the things that you're offering the startups in the accelerator, if I had to pick, I suspect that probably the biggest gain that they will get by working closely with you, the ability to generate and nurture human capital. It's not easy at all for startups.
I do hope so. I do hope that's one of the takeaways, that they have. We talked a little bit about, you talked a little bit about failures and how do you go about it. Every entrepreneur is, you should consider himself a success.
Absolutely.
Just because the fact that they've gone
Yep.
through that journey, right?
Yep.
It's also about that courage to build enterprises. It's about being able to take that risk. And you've done this time and again. Perhaps you can share what it takes to actually build a company, and what does it take, in a person to go and build and take that risk.
Because I've been, in that sense, fortunate to do a startup when I was mid-30s,
Yeah.
and now I'm doing startup when I'm late 50s. I think the ability to build with such a wide spectrum is very different. So I can't say there's a single answer that fits all. When we started, when I was 30 odd, when we did FabMart, I think the excitement and passion of doing something from scratch, we didn't have any vision saying we're going to build this great company. I think we were just having a whole lot of fun. And I was personally excited because we were doing something that I was clueless about, right? I know it sounds very strange, but I think to me it's been a very driving force. When you work in an organization, sometimes you're stuck in domains, right?
Yeah.
Your domains, departments, groups, and you do the same thing. And when you do the startup, I think if you do the same domain, to me it beats the purpose. So in 99, nobody knew about e-commerce. We said we'll do it. Now 20 years later, I'm clueless. I have no idea about FMCG. But that's precisely the reason why I'm doing it. I think not only, but the difference today is that today I'm able to visualize a startup and saying, I think if we can take this to this level, I have a vision in my mind, which visually see where this company will be 5 years, 10 years down the line. I'm working towards a very specific thing. I'm also, in a sense, more detached, and I think that's great. The fact that I'm no longer really fully committed or invested, saying this needs to be the greater financial outcome. If it happens, it's great. If it didn't happen, well, it doesn't matter to me. So I think perspectives change depending on how old and where you are. So there isn't a simple answer. But I think the ability to me, if you can walk away from it saying, I learned a lot
Yeah.
while building something, to me that's the greatest reward. The fact that you try to do something that, to me, personally, I was clueless about. So whatever happens to this venture, 2 years later, I can say, I know a fair bit about FMCG now. Because I learn a lot more doing an FMCG startup in 2 years than working for the largest FMCG giant for 20 years. That I know.
Right.
What I learn, I don't know, but I will learn more. I know.
And enjoy while doing it. Right?
Unquestionably.
Awesome. So you talked about the FMCG part, and that's your latest
Yes.
endeavor that you're on. Maybe share in a minute in terms of being able to share what that is all about. What are you trying to do?
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is we stumbled across this very interesting thing that there isn't any beverage in the world that uses the 5 critical food groups that the US Department of Agriculture has, which is dairy, fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains. There's no product that has all, and there's no sugar, no preservatives, no color, no flavors. It's ambient, doesn't require refrigeration, has 90 days shelf life. It sounds very easy, but this is the only beverage in the world that actually has ticked every single box. Nobody has done this. And when we went and met a whole lot of dairy experts and FMCG experts, the first thing that they told us is it can't be done. And they said, why can't it be done? Because it's never been done before. And I think, to me, that's the essence of entrepreneurship. The fact that it's never been done before is precisely the reason why we should do it. So we just went and investigated, and we saw the last patent that somebody has filed by Pepsi in 1978. That's how hard it is. That's exactly why we said we'll do it. Say, look, if nobody's done this, let's try and do it. So that's what we're trying to do.
That's a great way to look at it, right? Nobody's done this, so that's a good motivation to be able to go solve. So,
are we okay on time, or do we have?
I think we are up on time, so we'll wrap up.
Okay, I actually wanted to have one last question, if you don't mind, because like I was saying, all startups in India, for some strange reason, have this definition saying they have to be in the B2C space. Everybody is B2C, B2C. If it's not B2C, it can't be a startup. I've personally been very bullish about the B2B space for 2 reasons. One, I think the opportunity in B2B actually is bigger than B2C. Second, this is my personal favorite, I think it's easier to build a sustainable, profitable venture in the B2B space than in B2C, because it doesn't have this
the scale.
Huge. Not just, I think scale is a wrong word. It doesn't have this nonsense valuation driven things, right? Where you start something for B2C and then say, if 1 billion people buy this product, how will this? But nobody consumes, no billion people consume anything, right? But the fact of the matter, it's the easiest thing to do on Excel. But nobody does this on B2B because it's a harder thing to define. Right. But I think it's easier to make money, and I'm not saying this saying it's very easy. I think it's possible to build sustainable business. Therefore, I'm very curious. What is your take? How is the B2B ecosystem growing as far as startups?
Yeah, I mean, my perspective is 2 things, right? One, the B2B is also an avenue for, from a global market perspective. I think if you want to be global, if you want to build products from a global perspective, I think B2B is the way to go in being able to build a product and be able to sell it to enterprises across the globe. While, anything that is consumer-based is also kind of little bit of a culture-based, little bit of a regional-based. There are different people everywhere, right? What people like here may not be something that what people like somewhere else, kind of thing. That's one, one aspect of it. The second thing, I think, also what you talked about, when you build a product from a B2B perspective, you can actually go in phases, right? You want to be able to get 10 customers first. If you get the first 10 customers, you can actually go and, go forward and be able to, achieve some milestones and be able to get to that next stage. Right. So there is a way for you to, walk, crawl, walk, run type of thing, right? Whereas in the consumer space, I often feel you have to have these large numbers, right? Nobody cares about 10 customers.
To see you're born, then you fly.
Exactly, right. There you go. Right. So that's the reason why we thought really to be able to help build an ecosystem of B2B startups would be a great addition to what we have in India today.
Yeah,
so
makes
that
sense.
was the thought process. So so thank you again. It is an incredible honor to have you here on stage and be able to share your thoughts with everyone here. On behalf of NetApp. I personally thank you very much for making it so.
Thank you for having me, Deepak. It's been pleasure has been absolutely mine. Thank you so much.
Vaiti and Deepak, thank you very much. Vaiti, we have a little something from us to you. By the way, I was keenly listening to both the conversation backstage, and I think I've nailed it. Vaiti, you said for a startup, it's not like a 9-to-5 job, sweat and blood. and you spoke about the courage required to start. I think I've nailed it. I think a startup, tell me if it's right to say a startup is just like a marriage. Yeah, blood and sweat, completely. You talk about courage, both of you are successful entrepreneurs.
I've been married for 27 years.
You are a very successful entrepreneur. A big round of applause to both Vaiti and Deepak. Thank you so much for the chat, Vaiti. From us to you, we have a little something. Could we, Deepak, I want you to do the honors, please. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your time and accepting the invitation. Vaiti. Round of applause, please, for Mr. Vaiteshwaran. Thank you. Thank you, Deepak. Okay, the pitching. It's time for the main event. The 6 startups who will be pitching their products, a testament to the power of their idea and zeal to execute flawlessly. So we have 6 startups, and this is startup pitch number 1. I would like to call upon on stage, please welcome Tony Hackett, business consultant, NetApp Australia, to talk about UniCreate. This is startup pitch number 1 with a round of applause. Please welcome Tony Hackett. Over to you, Tony.
Hi, Tony Hackett is my name. I'm with our global account business at NetApp. I'm based in Sydney. My role is to work with our customers to understand their critical challenges, and from there I get to work with our sales teams and our great partners. When looking at partners, I always think it's very important to find partners that have great domain expertise as well as innovation. The areas that I work across financial services a lot. Just in the last week, I've worked with 2 of our largest banks in Australia, the ANZ Bank and the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. But when I think about the capital markets in particular, and I work into that sector through APAC, I start to think about a market that has a great need to extract value from data and produces mountains of data. And this is in an industry that is growing incredibly fast. Profits growing, market capitalizations growing. But for those organizations, they still need to work out how to extract value from data. It needs to be timely, it needs to be relevant. When I start to think about what that means, the next step I think about is a lot of change around regulatory requirements. We've never seen a more vigilant, the regulators addressing the financial services market. And we've never seen the internal risk controls more vigilant as well. And that poses a great challenge to organisations looking to adapt and to innovate. The real trick then becomes, how do you actually move through that world and still be successful? And I think that creates a compelling opportunity for UniCreate. If the challenge is to work out how to have the greatest customer intimacy, the reliance is then on an organisation to extract maximum business value from both unstructured and structured data. With that, they need to do it efficiently and precisely. And that's where UniCreate is able to help organisations. And they do that using their extract technology. I'd like to invite one of the co-founders, Nitin Gupta, to join me now and talk about Team UniCreate and how they're changing the world.
More than 80 billion new PDFs are created each year, and that too by capital markets alone. A lot of valuable data is locked up in these documents, and that is why these businesses spent $30 billion in 2018 to obtain this data. And in this time and age where everything is real time, the value of this data is lost exponentially as time passes. So how would you extract this valuable data from the documents? You have 2 options. You can get hundreds of people to manually extract this data, or you can get technology-trained people to build the automated process. But before you do this, you need to train these teams to understand the documents well enough. And once your data is extracted, you still need to verify it. And if you need a different process for a new business function, that just multiplies your effort and cost. That is why we created Extract, a smart data extraction product. With Extract, your process just begins by you quickly indicating the data of interest through a simple select and click interface. Once the engine recognizes the context, it starts predicting these data points. And with a single click, it takes you to the exact location in the source document so you can verify it. These steps are all you need to scale across your business functions and data needs. A $1 billion organization in Asia Pacific had just adopted a new process, and they were left with a backlog of about 15,000 bond documents. Now, this would have taken them 10 data analysts working over a period of 3 to 4 months to do all the data extraction. With Extract, however, the same work can now be done in about 3 weeks with only 2 analysts. In another instance, a large European enterprise had just acquired a new company, and they needed to integrate the product specifications data. But the big problem, the data resided in 120,000 documents, and that too from 30,000 different vendors and all in different formats. The original projection for the work to be completed was 18 long months. With Extract, the same work is expected to be done in 3 months. Interestingly, our next business brought us a different kind of challenge. A very large US-based financial services provider had a sizable tech team who was trying to automate the data extraction while working with 15 different business functions. They were trying to extract the data from the documents while serving the needs of the business functions. And this, along with 3 major software vendors and with a long lead time of 4 to 8 weeks to deploy. With Extract, their deployment time is expected to come down to less than 2 weeks. Today, speed of adoption and ease of technology integration are more critical than ever for business success. While RPAs and traditional ML companies score high on technology use, but the trade-off is added complexity and cost of integration. In-house solutions and verticalized products, on the other hand, are handcrafted for easier adoption, but they do not scale quickly with changing business needs. With our focus on convenience, cost, and compatibility, Extract offers you all both power and flexibility in managing your own data extraction needs. As first stop, our focus within capital markets will be on data providers, hedge fund managers, and asset managers. This gives us an addressable market of roughly $4 billion. And over the next 2 years, our TAM expands to more than $50 billion, covering sectors including insurance and legal. Going ahead, UniCreate capabilities will also extend to include web data extraction, multilingual support, and enhanced support for scanned documents. My name is Nitin Gupta, and I'm the CEO of UniCreate. I bring deep expertise in data management processes from Thomson Reuters. Along with Rakesh, who's our Chief Operating Officer, and he brings more than 2 decades of operational leadership experience running large teams across enterprises. And together with Kiran, who's our Chief Technology Officer, and he has built multiple technology products in his last 20 years of career. we would like to offer you all our self-service online utility for production trials and in-house piloting. Let us talk, and thank you for joining this evening.
Thank you. Unique Create. That was startup pitch number 1. Thank you very, very much. Startup pitch 2. I would like to call upon on stage Sanket Atal, Managing Director, Intuit India, to introduce Securely Share. Sanket, over to you.
I didn't get mic'd up backstage, sorry. Wow, this is an honor. Amazing program, Ajay. Thank you so much, Anandita, Madhurima, and Deepak. Amazing stuff, thank you. My name is Sanket. I manage a company called Intuit in India. How many people here have heard of Intuit? Oh man, that's awesome. Typically it's like 5 hands go up. So I joined Intuit about a year back, and shortly after joining, I was having discussions with the CTO talking about what we can do towards our mission, the mission of powering prosperity around the world. And coming from a company where the mission was not very well known, I was very skeptical. But this is something we embrace. It's very close to our heart. So we thought, let's create a program around startups. Right? Startups need help. Startups, as was mentioned previously, 90% of startups actually fail within the first 5 years. What can we do to help and increase the longevity? A few months after that, we came together, conceptualized, and then launched Intuit Circles. Intuit Circles is a program. It's not an accelerator or an accelerator or an incubator, but rather we actually partner with accelerators, incubators, and co-working spaces towards helping startups. There are 3 parts to it. The first part came out of lots of discussions with startups. At Intuit, we practice something called Follow Me Homes, so which is basically participant observation of whoever it is we're trying to understand. And what emerged was that there's a sense of community that is needed by the startups. And so they requested that we create something like that from our program. So a couple of weeks from now, we'll be launching the Intuit Circles community, and all startups are welcome. The other part goes back to the failures. 90% of startups fail. Majority of the failures, an overwhelming majority of the failures, are due to financial mismanagement. Because all of us techies think we know numbers, right? And so naturally, you open up Excel, enter some numbers, and you're good. But when it comes time to go to a VC or a bank for money, you don't have your ducks in a row. Or like Veti mentioned, your due diligence fails, right? So we teach a modicum of financial literacy so that you can use financial products to manage this critical part of your company and focus on your core competency, whether you're selling soft drinks or clothing or whatever it is. So that's the second part. And then the third part is integrations. So Intuit is a fintech company. We have some really, really popular products all around the world. And our products have open APIs. So we have a program whereby we help the startups integrate with our products using our open APIs. It's done really well so far. In just a few months, we have hundreds of startups who have come and are trying to do integrations and have become part of the community. And one of the startups is the one I'm about to introduce right now. They have actually successfully integrated with us. I'm super excited. They're in a space that's very dear to all of us, which is security. And I promised him I will not talk too much about the company because otherwise he said, look, that's my job. So we won't be doing that. So with that, we'll welcome Prakash from Securely Share.
Thank you, Sanket. Thank you all. Google and Facebook, 2 of the largest technology companies. 2 of the largest technology companies known for their data security. In spite of the state-of-the-art data security they have, they faced an invoice fraud via business email compromise, costing them over $100 million. Cyber criminals posed as vendors and convinced these companies to wire huge sums of money to an offshore account for products and services that were never rendered. This is just one scenario. An invoice is just one type of sensitive document. Apply this to billions of other sensitive documents such as financial statements, health records, pay slips, among others, circulated by companies, and you have a multi-billion-dollar unsolved problem. Most of these documents are downloaded from a website or emailed to the customers, at best protected by passwords, which can be easily guessed or cracked open. Think about it. The last month's bank statement that you got had instructions for the password in it, right? And this is like handing over the keys to the robbers themselves. Or in another scenario, a message that you receive from Citibank may not actually be from the bank. It could be a convincing phishing attack. It is estimated that cybercrime will cost enterprises and their stakeholders over $5 trillion in the next 5 years. I'm Prakash Bhaskaran, founder and CEO of Securely Share, and we have built Vault.Direct to enable secure and trusted communication between enterprises and millions of their customers. By now you must be wondering why enterprises do not use high security and why they are still dependent on password protected PDF to deliver sensitive information. If a large organization has to provide high security standards for the statements and documents they are sending to the customers, generally here are the steps that are involved. The user has to register with the organization. The organization then has to create encryption keys, use the keys for encrypting the document, email or made it available for the user to download it from the website, provide a mechanism for the user to log in, retrieve the key, decrypt it, and then finally consume the information. This process is not standardized and every organization will implement it in a different way. Now think about a customer, mostly without technical knowledge, having a few accounts with banks, mutual funds, utilities, etc., having to register with multiple organizations and maintain multiple passwords. Most organizations and customers therefore prefer static, easy to guess passwords, not because of security, but convenience. Our patented technology makes this process simple while actually enhancing the security. The users are verified with their existing identities, such as a Google ID or a phone number. We then compute the keys at the time of encryption and compute the keys at the time of decryption, making the key management simple, while providing full-strength AES 256 encryption standards. Our process is such that authenticated, authorized users do not even have to put in a password to open their files. While we address the security issues, we also empower the users to share the information while retaining the control with them. With our technology, users can share, but then they can track, expire, revoke access of the documents and information they share at any time. Vault.Direct is a concern-driven platform. User can, on his choice, can derive additional intelligence and insight right from within Vault.Direct. We provide rich set of APIs to connect with enterprise systems such as core banking application, invoice application, payroll application, among others. To make it easy, we also provide plugins and add-ons for popular software such as Microsoft Outlook, Intuit QuickBooks. Vault.Direct is built on distributed architecture and provides the flexibility to run from our cloud or from the premises of the enterprise. Today I'm very happy to announce that we have also integrated Vault.Direct with NetApp Storage Grid. Thank you. And thanks to this program, we are already a global alliance partner of NetApp. Our competition has tried to solve this problem in multiple different ways, in the form of information rights management, secure email, secure storage, password protected PDF, etc. But they have all operated in silos. Either the solutions are not comprehensive or do not scale to address large number of users. If the solution is convenient, it is not secure. If it is secure, it is not convenient. Securely Share brings them both together. We are currently running pilots at multiple wealth management companies and banks, starting with statements and documents intended for high net worth individuals, joint account holders, corporate accounts, where data security is even more important. We are a team of 35 people with wide-ranging experience and thought leadership in data security and data privacy. There are about 15 billion statements, documents, notifications that are sent out every month worldwide. Our vision for Walda Direct is to be the gold standard for those distributions. With Walda Direct, you can trust what you receive and control what you share. We would love to talk to you more about our technology and how we can help you and your customers. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much. That was startup pitch number 2, Securely Share. Thank you very, very much. Startup pitch number 3, I would like to call upon stage Bala Girisabala, President, XR's India, to introduce Q New Labs. Bala, over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Lovely place. Ajaya, fantastic show, and happy to be here. Deepak, happy to be here and introduce one of your cohort members. My name is Bala Girisabala. I'm the president of Techstars India. Techstars is the world's largest platform helping startups succeed. We believe startups create the future, and therefore we are here. So it's all about the journey that we help them achieve and the vision that we help them achieve. It's truly inspirational to sit here and to see how each of them are conceiving and imagining a new bold future in which all of us can take part. And I think in this context, 15 years ago, probably digital would have to be explained and sold as to what it is. Today, that's not the case. Today, we all live digital world. It's the reverse. It's about, we have to explain if you're not digital. So given this, I think there's been a tremendous amount of explosion of data, tremendous amount of explosion of the number of users connected through their devices all the time, that you are creating a very different set of problem, which is security. And I think the previous 2 startups did talk about that problem as well, but the immense effect of that is that how you even approach and think about security has become very, very complex. And for us, most technologies, we try to create order out of chaos, except for people who drive on Bangalore roads. We don't understand the order part of it. But in our professional lives, certainly we do try to create order out of chaos. But what if the order itself becomes the root cause for breaches? And that's what's starting to happen. Now, with the processing power growing exponentially, that same order becomes predictable. The patterns become crackable. And in this, you need to come up with a much, much different way of thinking about how you even solve it. So the startup that I'm going to introduce you is going to thrive on chaos. They have built fantastic technology, which is going back to the probabilistic principles of quantum cryptography and trying to bring that into the real life. Let's hear from them. Welcome them. Thank you. It's QNew.
Thank you, Bala. Good evening, everybody. The World Economic Forum has classified cyber attacks and data thefts as one of the most severe threats to human civilization, at par with weapons of mass destruction. Robbers and dacoits have been robbing trains for ages because they are most vulnerable when in motion. Same is true for large amounts of data. Today, 75% of the internet data travels on terrestrial or undersea fiber cables. Since the Cold War, state-sponsored attacks have been tapping into fiber cables and copying encrypted data, as well as the key to steal nation secrets. Think about it. Allies got an upper hand in World War II only when they broke the Enigma machine. According to a recent report published by The Guardian, a British spy organization called GCHQ has been collecting petabytes of data every day from fiber cables. Another report by Gemalto suggests that 4,200 data records are either lost or stolen every minute. With billions of dollars being pumped into some of the top companies in the world, such as Microsoft, IBM, Google, and Intel, there is exceptional progress being made on quantum computers today. So let's just say that the day is not far away when an everyday hacker can get access to a quantum computer on the cloud and crack large amounts of data with ease. With the life of critical data, such as financial, healthcare, and PII being about 10 plus years, there is great incentive for hackers today to carry out what we call the harvest now and the decrypt later attack, where they will store and copy the encrypted data and the key, and then break it later when they have access to a quantum computer. So this really begs the question, what are we doing to protect the key that is used in the encryption process? While prevention and detection capabilities exist today to prevent eavesdropping, they are based on mathematical complexities and are getting outdated. We at CUNY Labs use quantum physics principles using a technology called quantum key distribution. This, simply put, means that any attempt to eavesdrop onto the key means that the key gets dropped and a new key is generated immediately. CUNY offers India's first and patented quantum secure platform to give business resilience to enterprises. We launched ARMOS, a 19-inch plug-and-play hardware that seamlessly integrates into your critical infrastructure to give you what we call the quantum safe security and crypto agility. Given that data today is the nerve center of every business organization, this technology would be used across all business verticals, such as banking, data centers, telecom, and the defense. The quantum cryptography market today is growing at a CAGR of 28% and is expected to reach around $2 billion in the next 4 years. Picture this, there are 500 million routers available in the internet today, and 150 million of them need to be made quantum secure in the next 3 to 5 years. We're really excited to say that today we have 2 signed clients, both of which who are going to offer these solutions to their customers in the defense and the government, with 7 more opportunities in the pipeline addressing a wide variety of use cases to protect data in transit. We're really, really excited. I'm Prithvi Kinney, Head of Operations at CUNY Labs, and I'm super proud to be a part of a team that has pioneered several technologies and products in their career, such as Mark Matthias. He built the Simputer, India's first handheld computer. Karunakaran, he built India's first telecom switches at CDOT. And Sunil Gupta, who built India's first AI-powered platform for cybersecurity, ZARC. CUNY foresees a future of critical infrastructure built on a quantum secure foundation, and our product roadmap is in line with that vision. The best time to move to these new paradigms of security was yesterday. The next best time is today. Let's talk more, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Prithvi, thank you very much.
That was startup pitch number 3, CUNY Labs. I have a critical question right now. How many of you are hungry? Very few. Good, because nothing is ready outside. This is pitch number 4 now, for which I would like to call upon on stage Pari Natarajan. He's the CEO of Zinov Management Consulting. I would like Pari to introduce Zappy AI. Over to you, Pari. Pari, I like your hairstyle.
Wow, the quality of startups is just getting better and better every cohort. And we look at these startups at the early part of the start of the cohort and now, amazing transformation just in the last 4 or 5 months. We are honored to be the program partner working with NetApp. As part of running the program, we also source the interesting startups coming in. And one of the interesting startups, which was part of the cohort, is Zappy. And Zappy helps organizations automate the business process by intelligently creating automation by learning from employee behavior at work. And RPA is one of the hottest enterprise segments. We just did a recent study. The addressable market for RPA is over $50 billion. The current address market is just $2 billion, and we expect the market to grow to over $11 billion. I'm just doing a pitch for him. And if you look at just the RPA, India is becoming the center of gravity for RPA. If you look at global centers of excellence like NetApp, 200 out of 1,000 companies who have centers here have some RPA initiatives. So India is truly going to be the center of that. I would like to welcome to stage Ambuj Agrawal. He's a honors graduate, computer science graduate, and a co-founder of Zappy. And he's going to tell us why is Zappy uniquely positioned to win in this red-hot RPA market.
Thank you, Pari, for the introduction. Repetitive tasks cost $5 trillion annually in lost productivity. Robotic process automation solutions started in early 2000s to solve this problem and allowed businesses to automate their manual and rule-based processes. But only a fraction of these processes are being automated currently. In fact, only 9% of SMEs and 24% of large organizations have implemented these solutions. The main problem with these solutions is that they require technical knowledge. It takes a long time to create automation, more than 3 months, and is not cost effective. Costs more than $15,000 per automation. We developed Zappy to solve this problem. Zappy learns employee behavior at work, identifies their repetitive processes, and automatically creates automation for them. With Zappy's cognitive intelligence, no technical knowledge is required. Automation is created in minutes and is cost effective. Here is one example of how Zappy works in action. We have John, a banking employee, who is uploading settlement data manually from Excel file to internal application. As soon as John finishes one row of data put manually to this internal application, Zappy learns his behavior, identifies the repetition involved, and creates an automation for him. John can use this automation to upload all remaining rows of data from this Excel file and similar files in the future. Zappy is used by accounting firms to automate their bank statement data entry to ERP systems. Before Zappy, this process used to take days to finish with high error rates. With Zappy, the process completed in minutes with 0 errors. Asset management firms use Zappy to automate their daily report generation process. Their employees have trained Zappy to fetch data from PDF files, emails, and websites and use this data to automatically generate reports for them. Now, Zappy automatically fetches data from these different sources
and automatically generate reports in minutes. We have implementations and pilots going on with large European banks, conglomerates, BPOs, telecoms and manufacturing firms located in UK, India, Japan, France and Poland. We are very uniquely placed in terms of competitor landscape. Robotic process automation solutions provide great functionality to automate manual business processes. Tools such as Excel are very easy to use and provides functionality to automate data processing tasks, but the functionality is limited to files in Excel. Zappy provides all the functionality of a robotic process automation software, but is easy to use like Excel. With Zappy, you can create process automation 30 times faster. I am Ambuj Agrawal, founder of Zappy AI. I am one of the youngest recipients of Exceptional Talent Visa in Digital Technology by UK government. I have also received innovation awards from Citibank and Imperial College London, amongst others. Furthermore, we have Stephen Pinto with 5 years of experience in building process automation tools. Ruby Mittal with 8 years of experience in developing high-performance computing software. And Saroj Agrawal with 20 years of experience in business management. We are democratizing automation so that every employee can get rid of their repetitive work. We are Zappy AI. Come and talk to us for trials and pilots. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Zappy AI. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was startup pitch number 4. Startup pitch 5. I would like to call upon on stage Harish Arora, Vice President Engineering, NetApp India, to introduce Equilibrium Energy. Harish, over to you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Harish Arora, VP of Engineering for Data ONTAP at NetApp Bangalore. ONTAP is the #1 storage operating system in the world, and it provides seamless data mobility between edge to cloud. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are living in the era of Industry 4.0. What that means is that connected devices are at the heart of it, and you see previous startups talking about the immense amount of data that these devices generate and security and stuff like that. But what about the devices themselves? While these devices, which by the way, estimated to be about 5 billion by next year or so, generate so much data and you do so much thing with it, it creates a lot of exciting opportunities, but at the same time, it creates a challenge of being able to manage these devices. How do we prevent the breakdown of these devices? And how do we maximize their lifetime? And this is where Equilibrium Energy comes in. With their platform, they enable enterprises to prevent unscheduled downtimes and to maximize their devices and reduce operation and energy costs. And I would like to introduce Harit Soni. And Harit Soni is co-founder and director of Equilibrium. He is a well-known innovator in this space, and he's got stellar education credentials. He's received an award from MIT. He's a TEDx speaker, and he's been widely covered in various Indian and international journals and publications. So without further ado, Harit, please come on stage.
So how many of you have had to climb 5 stories of stairs because that elevator stopped working? Quite a few I see here. How many of you have had to face massive production losses because that small but critical component stopped working? I see a few here as well, so you have industries here. Now what if I tell you that we can predict these outages or downtime nearly a month before it actually happens? That is the future. And at Equilibrium, we're building it today. Back in 2011, we started with a simple vision to provide energy management solutions for industries, buildings, and utilities. We wanted to help these enterprises visualize and optimize their energy consumption. We wanted to do this using a cloud-hosted platform as well. Over time, we started converting this energy data into real-time condition monitoring of critical equipment. Today, we are one of India's leading predictive maintenance companies for industries and buildings. Our industrial IoT platform, SmartSense, has the ability to help enterprises optimize their energy consumption by 10%, their maintenance costs by 30%, and reduce their unplanned downtime by 70%. One of our strategic partners, JLL, they were managing the Amazon facility in Hyderabad. Now, the facility managers wanted to move from reactive to predictive maintenance because they were tackling high cost of energy and maintenance. They had a lot of data lying around with their building management system, but they weren't able to convert this existing data into actionable insights. That's when we went in and we deployed SmartSense. We deployed our A3 approach, which is acquire, analyze, and act. Over a period of time, these algorithms started giving out automated alerts which identified a degradation in a critical component of a transformer of the facility. Timely action taken by the team there ensured that nearly 1,000 man-hours were saved by this action. And along with it, there was also energy saving that happened. Now, we achieved this by creating a deep and advanced digital twin. By creating this digital twin, the energy data started monitoring and creating a condition monitoring of the equipment and identified any anomalies which would lead to a potential inefficiency or a potential outage. Now, these algorithms also keep learning on their own. So it becomes more and more accurate as time goes on, which is also one of our critical strengths. Now think about it. That is just one equipment in one customer. Cisco predicts that there are going to be 14 billion equipment in industries and buildings by the year 2020. With an average failure rate of 7%, that's nearly 100 million equipments failing every year. A majority of this can be preempted and prevented. Equilibrium is currently at around 250 plus enterprises across India, Southeast Asia, and Middle East. With an average growth rate of nearly 100% of our subscription revenue, Markets and Markets identified Equilibrium as the only Indian contender for the $10 billion predictive maintenance market. This also places us in a very sweet spot to capture a pie of larger $120 billion industrial IoT market. Our low cost to serve, as well as patented power genome algorithms, ensure that we have a distinct competitive advantage. Starting this year, we are going international. We are scheduled to be in over 3 continents over the next 2 years. We also are planning to be in Southeast Asia, Europe, and North America. We want to be the key partner of choice for enterprises on the Industry 4.0 journey, starting from real-time MIS or KPI tracking, leading to predictive maintenance, and eventually creating a complete marketplace which advises smart replacement of equipment by IoT insights. Our 2 immediate priorities starting this year. Number 1, we want to have strategic international partners who can help us expand to Southeast Asia, Europe, and North America. And number 2, we want to expand our product portfolio to cover new verticals, in manufacturing and smart cities. Led with a senior management team of combined experience worth nearly 70 plus years, Team Equilibrium has extensive experience in technology, operations, and finance. At Equilibrium, we really want to reimagine tomorrow. A tomorrow which is sustainable, efficient, and smart. And I invite you to be a part of this exciting journey. Thank you.
Thank you. There was Equilibrium Energy. Thank you very much. There was startup pitch number 5. And the final startup pitch number 6. I would like to call upon on stage Ravi Narayan, CEO of T-Hub Hyderabad, India's biggest startup innovation space. I would request Ravi Narayan to introduce Eder Labs. To you, Ravi.
Hi, good evening, Namma Bengaluru. I take every opportunity to come here because my home is here, and the other is because I'm blown away by the quality of startups that I see every time I come here. So the reason I come to Bangalore is because my work is in Hyderabad, and I'm trying to do a startup there myself. The startup is to actually bring the entire innovation ecosystem of Hyderabad into life. Something where the government, something where the academia, the research labs, the corporations, and the startups all move up the innovation value chain. And this is something that's very interesting because not only are you trying to build the ecosystem for startups, but you're building the ecosystem for the entire set of stakeholders. And it's a pretty interesting task. And that's the reason, like Vaiti said, if it's not been done before, it doesn't have a very interesting path to, the path has not been defined, then take it on. Just make it happen. And that's the startup that I'm building. So I'm looking at the kind of startups that have come on stage up until now, and I'm just looking at what are the kinds of problems that they have taken on to solve. It's one thing to say, B2C, which was the first wave of startups that came in India, in Bangalore. And then there came those startups that took the peripheral problems that were there and they solved them because with the limited amount of resources and the talent they had, they were able to solve them. Now today, of the 5 that you've seen and the one that I'm going to introduce to you, it's a small team of only 7 people, 4 co-founders that have taken on a big challenge of solving something that is globally applicable, not just for the Indian market, but globally applicable across the world. So here's the huge promise of data and AI that is out there, and people talk about it being a huge market, $78 billion market in AI services alone. And people want to go tap into it. Of course, the large companies will do it, the Google and the Microsoft and others will do it. But how about the others? How do they actually tap into the promise of AI? Never easy. And so this company has actually taken on the 2 challenges that always are coming in the way. One is the security with which you can actually go down this path and start working on this secure AI. And at the same time, the data, this data security, the data privacy, how do you ensure that this is something that is always going to be taken care of as you embark on this journey of, unleashing the power that you can with AI. So this company out of Bangalore, Namma Bengaluru, is actually doing this and has done a wonderful job of, getting a whole lot of POCs, and they are looking to build this thing out into a global company going forward. So this is Eder Labs, and to talk about Eder Labs, there is Sarath Satyanarayana.
Hello, Bangalore. Adaptability, the quality of being able to adjust to new conditions. Today, enterprises have to adapt to the world of AI. There's a problem, however. Barely 12% of the initiated AI projects are commercialized. Most still in the pilot stage. There are two primary reasons for why enterprise AI hasn't achieved scale. On one hand, there's a shortage of talent, for which there are numerous startups that are solving for unique business cases. But on the other hand, there is this rising concern over the exposure of sensitive enterprise data, because AI today has to consume large volumes of real-time data in an unsecure manner. So how might we run AI in a completely trusted and secure environment? My name is Sharath, and at Eder Labs we are addressing exactly this opportunity. Imagine the refining and cutting process in the diamond industry, all of which happens in a highly secure manner, converting the rough diamonds into products of immense value. Now just think of a similar secure environment where companies can engage with AI teams or startups without any concern for loss of data, breach, or theft. We have built Fluid, an enablement tool that helps run AI in a trusted environment while ensuring complete data privacy and ease of deployment. Let me give you a couple of examples of how Fluid can benefit enterprises. A large telecom brand in the EU is keen on reducing or optimizing the call response of their customer service executives by using the services of a top AI firm. The solution there requires direct access to all of the call records in real time, which the brand is uncomfortable with sharing, given the EU's focus on data privacy. Now with Fluid, this interaction can happen privately and securely. Another customer of ours is designing driver interaction systems for smart vehicles in regional languages, where the in-car AI has to learn from the driver's behavior without compromising her voice signature. It's a personal biometric after all. Now Eder, with its Fluid solution, can enable such AI to learn across all vehicles from multiple drivers without their personal data ever leaving the vehicle. With Fluid, enterprises that are working with third-party AI models or solutions can now prove at any time to any authority that your information is safe, not just at rest or in transit, but also while it's being processed. This is done by enabling an existing Intel CPU component that is designed to be completely secure. And interestingly, is also available in most data center environments. We have been certified by Intel to offer Fluid secure AI within this trusted environment using Intel SGX. We are at the forefront of enabling this massive AI adaptability amongst enterprises. The market for secure AI has only just begun taking shape, and Eder Labs is amongst the first few companies solving for this opportunity. We are different in the way we want to make this easy and scalable for enterprises. We are a bootstrap team of 7 members, including 4 co-founders, with Utkarsh leading engineering, Vishwajit keeping us a step ahead of secure AI research, Paul bringing his experience with deploying successful AI products, and myself, a serial entrepreneur. The AI services market is set to grow to about $78 billion by 2022. And we believe that Fluid will play a critical role in increasing enterprise AI adoption. Fluid can ensure production level deployment for various business use cases in the world of AI. Eder Labs is looking for POC partners to be able to accelerate the enterprise AI journey. The overall market has begun to take notice of this upcoming domain called secure AI, with all of the tech giants and most cloud service providers already getting involved. Please join us outside to know more about how secure AI works and how simple it can be. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was Eder Labs. How about a big round of applause for all the 6 startups this evening? Of the 6 startups, 3 would be awarded now based on the following categories: Most Innovative Product, Investors' Choice Award, and Best Growth Strategy Award. So the winners have been chosen by a jury comprising of NetApp leaders and the mentors who were involved with each startup throughout the journeys. So to kickstart the award ceremony, the first category, to present this and announce this award, I would like to call upon on stage Anil Valluri, President, India and SAARC NetApp. Please welcome Anil Valluri. This to announce the Most Innovative Product Award. Could we have the envelope, please? Anil. Any guesses? Most innovative product? It's securely shared. Congratulations! Please come on stage. Lift off. Securely shared. Congratulations. I'm 100% sure that is your team. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Anil, thank you very, very much. Okay, for the second award of the 3 awards among the 6 startups, this is the Investors' Choice category. To announce this award and present, I would like to call upon Samir Kumar, Managing Director, Inventus Capital, to kindly come onto the stage, please. Samir Kumar. The Investors' Choice category. All the best. Any guesses? No?
This is blank. No, it isn't. This is Equilibrium Energy.
Congratulations. Equilibrium Energy. Let's have you on stage, please. The team, Equilibrium. Anybody from Equilibrium? Yes. Congratulations. Investors' Choice Award. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Samir. And the third award. This is for the best growth strategy. For this, I would like to call upon Ramanujam Komanduri, Regional Director, NetApp India, to kindly come onto the stage. Please welcome Ramanujam. Any guesses? Best growth strategy of the 6 startups that you heard. You heard the pitches. All the best. Best growth strategy award goes to
Unicreate.
Unicreate. Congratulations.
Lift off.
Congratulations. Unique creation. Thank you very much. Did you have a good time this evening? You hungry now? You thirsty? We have addressed your problem too. Okay, before I announce where cocktails are and the dinner is, this is NetApp's Accelerator demo day, so please kindly spend time at the demo zones as you walk outside and speak to the folks of the startups to understand their aspirations, what else would you like to solve, any questions you have for them, speak to them. The demo zones are right outside. While those who are thirsty, the cocktail zone is on the ground floor and your dinner would be served on the rooftop. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, it's a wrap. I wish all the startups, the entire team, the very, very best. Good luck, investors. And I'll hand over the mic to Ajay.
Thanks. Hey, this is just an announcement that we got a heads up that there is a situation in the sense there's a section 144 imposed in the city because of a vote of confidence that's going on in the Secretariat. Yeah, so whatever that is. So there is a restriction. However, we are not affected by it. We have confirmed that because this is a private event and it's already going on. So just be aware that as you're outside talking, eating, and drinking, make sure that we keep the volume a little down so that we don't bother others and give rise to problems. This is unexpected, but